Hi everyone. Morning. Let me share my screen. So hope my screen is visible. To have a short introduction about myself, I'm Suresh, data architect of Data Culture. I'm a certified fabric consultant, and I have over 9 years of experience on the data platform. Okay, so let's move on to the today's agenda. We like to cover more on what's new on the fabric. So why the customer want to choose the fabric? Like it can be a enterprise customer or can be a small scale customer. So that's why we choose Microsoft Fabric, and we will cover upon the approach of what is the strategy we follow whenever we do a data engineering process, and followed by we have client success stories and the demo and the QA. Okay. Yeah. So what's new with the Microsoft Fabric? So Microsoft has a lot of features which is available, and they are keep increasing, keep adding more features in every quarter. To start with, the data mirroring and the shortcuts are one of the major features which they brought in very recently. Okay, so let's assume the most of the customers or their ERP system or the CRM system sits on the on-prem, where they want to have the fabric in place and they want to build some kind of a centralized warehouse, right? So using the mirroring, we can just have a replica of the data or the database into the fabric. That's became the data foundation for any kind of data layer. So from there, we can start building our ETL flow, like it can be a bronze, silver, and gold. And top of it, we can start building a dashboard. That's the advantage of data mirroring. And the shortcuts is kind of, let's assume we have a centralized data warehouse. We will have a data from the different sources, different machines, all sits in one layer. So let's assume for a specific requirement of customer, like they have some kind of sales folks, they have some kind of finance folks, right? So using the shortcut, we can just create a data sets for them, and then they can start using it. So this allows to not to duplicate the data within the fabric, just consume the data, one data which is available within the fabric. Okay, so that's a advantage of Microsoft data mirroring and shortcuts. Okay, as a second point, we have data mesh. So data mesh is nothing but having a separate domain within the fabric. Okay, so any organization, we will have domains of sales, we will have and we have finance, we have inventory, right? So as a data mesh, what it will do, it will have a separate domains will be created, and which is called as a workspace, and we will provide the respective data sets into it, and that will be sets as a the proper data governance and security practice. So the people from the sales could not able to see the finance side, and the finance for people or won't able to see the data within the sales. So that's how the data mesh works. And coming to the semantic model on the Power BI, this is one of the key features of this fabric. So within the fabric, we have a couple of modes of data connectors, which is the direct, and other one is the import mode. So that's the traditional Power BI has. So the advantage of the Fabric Power BI is we have something called direct lake. Okay, so which means like you don't want to create your data source directly or import mode. Instead of that, your Power BI sits at top of your data layer within the Fabric, which means you will have a real-time data without any latency. So that's the advantage of the Power BI within the Fabric. Okay, and we have most interesting the topic, and which is on the Copilot and AI within the fabric. Like the Copilot works on the data layer, like it works on the lakehouse or warehouse. It works on top of a Power BI. Okay, so let us assume you have all the data sets available on the fabric, like the data from the SQL Server or it can be Postgres. So all the data it sits on the fabric now, and you want to build some the dashboard, right? So you just ask a Copilot, hey, can you build a dashboard with this KPIs, this metrics? Yes, within a second it will start building a dashboard for you, and it's completely interactive. And also on the data engineering side, is it will help us to provide the data preparation and it do a lot of analytics as well. Okay, this is on the Copilot. And on the Azure AI, the Fabric comes with a ready-made the data science capability. Like we will have models available, ready-made models available, where we can just utilize connective data sets and just consume the data models. It will give all the expertise, like in any kind of a predictive maintenance or prescriptive maintenance. It can be done very easily without any code or no code process. Okay, so coming to the data engineering part, like if you want to build some robust data lake architecture, right? Like we are in modern world now, just running with a large volume of data. The Synapse works completely on the Spark. Like we have parallel processing capabilities. This enables to have the real time and quick transformation, which can be happened within the Fabric. So why choose Microsoft? Okay, so it is a just integrated platform. Like we have Power BI within this, we have Lakos, we have the AI capabilities. That's it, right? So we have since it has a large capabilities within this. So the people who are interested in creating a data engineering and creating a visualization and creating some AI models, that's a Fabric. So that's a perfect suit for any customer. Okay, so and it's very helpful to have since it has a capabilities. It will works on the OpenAI, which is the Azure OpenAI part. So it is very fast, and if you have kind of a prompt in place, just throw the questions to the prompt, and it will respond very fast. Okay, and like every customer have the multiple cloud environment, like having different subscriptions on different components within the let us assume if you take AWS or even Azure, we have the existing version, we have ADF, we have a data lake, and we have the Synapse Analytics, right? As a Fabric, it's all in one place. Like we have different capacities, starts from F2 and followed by till F128, which has wide range of capabilities in place. Okay. And let me talk about the Fabric and its component. Like let's make more interesting. We like to compare this with our superheroes. So the Black Widow, right? So what it does is like it converts the mission. Okay, so to the engineers with the prescription, right? So just compare the each character how it works. And this is on the data factory, and it's never miss the target of location. Like let us we are moving data from the source to target. So when I'm using data factory, it will move the data seamlessly and without any data loss, and it's completely secure. And the data activator, like so you have a data in place and you have your Power BI in place. Okay, so the people is running very fast in this world and we don't have time to see everything, right? So using the data activator, we can set up some kind of threshold within your data, like or a Power BI. Hey, let us assume if my threshold is reached about 90%, just trigger email. So using a data activator, it just is job seamlessly, and it just send an email or notification to the users saying that, hey, your key metrics or your key KPIs are reaching your threshold. Just keep eye on it. So that's how the data activator works. And to the real-time intelligence, it's just a lightning fast, like a Thor thunder. Okay, just have a dynamic the real-time data within the Fabric. Yes, it supports both the batch process and also the streaming process. So that's how the real-time intelligence works. Yes, here comes our hero, Iron Man. So it's kind of more techie using AI and all the stuff. So we just have the data science compared to the Iron Man with the innovation of data and have all the ML model, everything in place. And here is our Captain America. So which we just compared with the Power BI. So and which is our the first line of defense with the dashboard and data. Like we have the large volume of data. The first thing which comes to our the mind is a dashboard. Like, hey, what's our sales today? So what's our inventory today? So those kind of information is completely available within the Fabric Power BI. And that's it, right? So we have the powerhouse the power of collaboration of superheroes like the data factory and the pipelines and the Power BI all together we called as Fabric. Yes. So let's come back to some technical stuff. Okay, so here we have different components, like we have data factory just for ingestion of data from the different sources. And we have the Synapse data engineering, like having the Spark, running your the high volume of data, doing some lot of transformations. We generally go with the Spark data engineering, and the Synapse data science just to have the models in place where we can just have the forecasting and the predictive maintenance, all the stuffs. And if you have your data as a traditional data, like having the tables and in the stuff, we will go with the Synapse data warehouse, and that's completely works on the traditional T-SQL. Okay, and the real-time analytics, it's just for a kind of the real-time data. So it can be if you have any machinery, and it's mostly on the pharma side, like we have machinery data, right? So we can just have those SCADA data within our connect that to the Fabric, and we will have that data within our databases. And as I told about, we have Power BI and data activator. As a good thing, all the data sits within the one, like as a OneDrive, which we are currently using, right? So these are security basis. We have different folders in place, and these are completely organized within one lake. And more interestingly, the data will be converted and sits as a Delta Parquet. So Delta Parquet is kind of supports ACID properties, and at the below you can see the source code. Like, so we done for one of the table which has around 8.7 GB of data, that converted into 443 MB. So that's how the data compression will be done within the Fabric. So in terms of costing, like if you have less storage, yes, the Fabric will be very helpful for you. Okay, and yeah, and I just like to bring some of the solution architect we generally follow for a Fabric solution. Okay, and on left hand side we have RDBMS, the flat files, or it can be a web APIs, any sources, right? So in case of your data sits on on-prem, we generally connect through the on-prem gateway, which is available within a Fabric, and we will extract the data and put it on the bronze layer. So here we typically follow the Mendelian architecture, like having the bronze, silver, and the gold, right? So the bronze layer will have a data within the raw zone in form of the incremental or full load. So generally, so any data which has the master data, right? So let us in the product or customer or vendor, this is all kind of master data, right? So that's how we generally move as a full load. In terms of the incremental data, where we have the invoicing, we have kind of the sales, right? So that's how the big amount of, we do a lot of transaction, right? So those data we generally have incremental load. Okay, so from the bronze we will move the data into silver, where applying the kind of a data transformation and a lot of integration and harmonization will be done within the silver layer using the Synapse engineering. Like, so let us assume we have a data from the different sources. So here all the data has been integrated and sits as a star schema, which is the modern word of in a data warehousing solution. That's how the data sits on the silver. So once this data is ready at the silver, we will move that data into the gold layer, applying some business rules. So let us assume the business has some requirement having like, hey, can you build some aggregated table of our sales, right? So which involves some multiple tables. So what we will do, we leverage to use the Synapse engineering, and using some of the AI capabilities, we just aggregate the table and have a data ready available on the gold layer for the reporting purpose. So from the goal, we will consume that data to the Power BI for your reporting purpose. Okay. As part of this architecture, we have the ETL auditing and tracking. Okay, and this I will cover later on the demo part. And scheduling and orchestration, we have inbuilt Fabric scheduler that will take care of all the scheduling part. So as part of this, the data, every data sits on the one lake as a as a secured way, and it's all part of the governance. Okay. Okay, so this is our approach. Generally, any solution which can be web APIs or it can be databases, our approach is, I mean, little unique to have a metadata-driven approach. Like we have a couple of tables in place. Like just fill out the config. That's it. The process will be taken care of automatically, and it will move the data into the fabric. Okay, and the processing of parallelly, right? So we have 1,000 tables in one of the sources. So based on the capacity we choose, we run some tables in parallel. Like it can be a 64 tables or it can be 32 based on the source volume, and we will determine that and we will do a parallel processing. As I said, we do an incremental development. Like so, within a 2 weeks of time, you will have your data within the fabric. That's how the approach will be. Like we just follow the two weeks of agile, and our approach will suppose a dynamic schema. So it's more interesting. Like so, let us assume if you have some tables which has 10 columns right now. Okay, later point of time you have some development is happening, and now the 10 columns becomes 15. So, and already you have your warehouse in place or fabric in place. Now, the capable of fabric, what it will do is it will dynamically understand the data or a schema from the source, and it will transform that newly added column from the source to the fabric, and it will move the data and it will notify to the user saying that, hey, the new column has been added into source, and just make a note of it. And if it's required, just move across your goal layer. Okay, and as I told, we have this efficient auditing and error, and we have the beautiful dashboard to showcase you guys. And that's it from the approach side. Okay, and these are the most recent case study we done for one of the customer on the finance side. Okay, so they had a challenging, like they have kind of ClickSense in place. Okay, and they have different sources. They have data from the SQL Server, they have Oracle data, and few web APIs. Okay, so their problem is it really takes, I mean, 18 hours to get the data into their reporting layer and building a dashboard. Okay, so that's how the existing flow works. They do all complete load into the ClickSense in memory and process it and showcase a dashboard. The solution which we provide him is like it's very seamless, like having the data factory, and we just identified what are the respective full loads and incremental. We just move the data across different layer, and they have the gold layer of aggregation in place, and top of it they build the dashboard. So it's very seamless and very fast, and they got a data in near real time. Like within 30 minutes, they have that data within their Power BI dashboard. Okay. Yeah. So let's check it out. Like just going to bring some exciting demo video for you guys. Yep. So as I told, we have the metadata-driven approach, right? So we build some UIs within the Power Apps. Okay. So what we have done is like, so it's kind of a simple UI where you can just do some kind of human feeds, like what is your column type, I mean connection type, what is your connection name, what is the schema. So all the stuff like, so in this case, I'm just choosing the Postgre. I'm just giving some PostgreSQL, and my data is coming from a DBU, and object is entity, and data flow is kind of, I'm just selecting all because we have different flows. Like if you see at the architecture, I've showcased the data will be flown from the bronze to silver, and the silver to gold, right? So if I choose the data flow of all, what it will do is it will move the data from the source to bronze and bronze to silver. So that's how it works. And I told about the load frequency as well, right? So we have a full and incremental for the most of the master data, which has less volume of the data. We go with a full load. Okay, so in this case, the entity going to be very less, right? So it's a dimension. So we just choose a dimension, and we will choose the load frequency of daily or hourly, whatever is required. Okay, and we just specify the source query, right? Just do a basic select star from the DB of entity. And that's it. Just save it. So what it will do is it automatically creates entity. Maybe I can just do a search on it, like just type entity. Okay, it will bring up that whatever the things we have saved recently. Okay, so this is the entry, and we have given a source name as Postgre. Yeah, it's going to the part of the control header. As I said, we have a couple of tables, control and DTL. So if you see, this has some the high level information, and the more important is something called is applicable, right? So let us assume we want to stop the one of the table processing into the data warehouse, right? So let us assume there is some confusion or enhancement or going to happen with this table. So there's going to be a frequent change which is going to happen within the table. So within this is applicable flag, if you don't want to consider this table during the process of execution, just mark it as not applicable. That's it. This table won't be taken part of the data ingestion. Okay, and we are capable of editing this the already saved content, and we have the details. Just search for it with the entity, and you can see the couple of layers, right? So source to bronze and the bronze to silver, and within the source to bronze we will have the target object like stage underscore entity, so which is the bronze layer of the data. We call it as, we start with the STG, which is the staging layer, and we have this operator, everything in place. Since a full load, it's all hidden. Okay, and coming to the second part, like we have a bronze to silver, right? So now we have a data which is available. Okay, and this is for the example for the incremental load. Okay, so I have showcased for full load. I'm just choosing DPO and the invoice data. Okay, and I'm just choosing the all layer and making us incremental. Okay, and making us fact. Okay, interesting now. So as a incremental load, we need a watermark attribute, right? Like it can be any date and time, like it can be your invoice date, it can be a modified date or created date of the particular table. So we have for incremental, we have enabled the column called watermark attribute, and we have operators. It can be the greater than equal to, because we're going to pull the incremental, or we can choose a greater than as well. Okay, and choose load frequency as daily, and just specify the table name. That's it. Okay, so once it is saved, that's it. So our metadata driven configuration is done in matter of 2 minutes. That's it. So once a framework in place, and we just created the metadata here, if you can see all the entries within this table, like what is your source ID, what is your target object. Is, if you see here, the target object is start with F, because it's a fact table, and what is the object type. So everything is, it's placed within this control header and detail. Okay, so I just take these two tables as an example. So one is at the entity, and other one is at the invoice data. And if we see, all the data is rightly placed, and okay, yeah. And this is for the bronze to silver, like we will have all the flows, what is the incremental, what is the pipeline name which we're going to execute. So everything is neatly placed. And now I'm just coming to my fabric and just opening the bronze Legos. And if you see, we won't find the table of the entity and the invoice data. Okay, and I'm going to the silver layer now. And if you see, I couldn't see the table name of D underscore the entity and the invoice, right? Okay. Now go back to the master pipeline, and just trigger the pipeline. Okay. As a first part, the invoke pipeline, right? So this will bring all the schemas, the tables which is available on source within the fabric. So we will maintain the consistency across the data types. Like it's like there will be different data types across the different source systems, right? So the Postgres will have different data types, and in case of web APIs, or it can be AS400, or it can be the Progress DB. They will have different variety of data types, right? So what we will do is, using the AI capabilities, we will have a right data types between the source to the target, which is the source to the fabric. And as a part of first pipeline, it will have all this comparison, and it will have the right the data type within the fabric. Okay, and we just triggering the couple of pipelines, like One is at the source to, the Postgres, bronze to silver, and silver to gold. That's it. So once the pipeline is done, so what we are going to do is we are just going back to our bronze and see whether the table exists. Okay. If you see, yes, the entity is already there. Yes, it came automatically. Staging and scripting. We have not done anything within our fabric. It's all the metadata driven approach, and it's all based on the AA. Okay. And yeah, and also we have invoice data, like so it can be of customer and what are the entities, region. So these are the invoice data which is available on the bronze. Okay, and now we can just go back to the silver and see whether the dimension of fact is created over there. Okay, yes, if you see the entity underscore entities d underscore entity is created, and we have a data within the silver with the ETL created date and active indicator, it's all right placed. And also we have the invoice data over here within the fabric. Okay, so this is our approach of having the metadata driven, and it's all the low code and no code approach. Like it can be a couple of weeks of the process which we set, and then on it can be just have the screen in place and just have entries. That's it. So the things will be taken care quite easily. Okay, and this is on the data within the silver. Okay, I'm just moving back to the dashboards. Okay, and this is especially on the ETL monitoring. So as a process, we have kind of exception handling and auditing in place, right? So if you see, so as part of this fabric, so we have 24 tables across the different source system. It can be from the landing zone, like, so using the data mirroring, we brought few data into the landing zone, and we have Postgre, we have SQL, and we have MySQL, right? So this is how it shows, and how many tables we have active and inactive. Inactive, as I said, we are is applicable flag, right? So in this state, we have 21 tables active, and we have 3 tables inactive. In that the current run, we have 12 tables success, and there is 0 failure, and it's completely a slice and dice dashboard, where if you want to see the count by the object type, or if you want at the data level, or can be load type, or if you want to see at the Postgre level, it's completely a slice and dice dashboard. Okay, so it comes as a package, and where you don't want to do the SQL stuff to see the audit, just have a live dashboard, and you can just see the whatever the latest run happened within your fabric. Okay, so this has a complete information about the full load or incremental. Let's move on to the dashboard which we build on top of this fabric, and this is on the finance, because we brought the data from the invoice entity, and we had different data from the on the division level or the invoice revenue, all the stuffs together, and we build this dashboard. Okay, so if we see that we have a total revenues and division wise the actual. Okay, and I like to showcase something on the Copilot here. Okay, so if you see, so I'm just throwing some questions to the Copilot, saying that, hey, can you give the execute summary of this dashboard? Okay. Okay, what it will do, it will just quickly understand the data which is available, and it will bring up the dashboard. Hey, okay, there is a budget that's actual for this financial year 2023, and the company planned to have 18.5 of revenue, but it was 12.75, and with the budget ratio of 68.89. Okay, so this will give a complete information about dashboard within a few fraction of seconds. So that's the power of the Copilot within the fabric. Okay, and this completely supports on the F64 capacity. Okay, so if you want to use this Copilot within the Power BI or Fabric, and you have to go with the F64, then we can throw a lot of questions into it, like what are the key metrics, okay, why it's lagging, and what are the improvement we can do. It's completely the AI driven, right? Okay, that's it from the demo side. I like to have a quick live demo to have how the Copilot works. Okay, I'm just bringing the same dashboard. I'm just enabling the Copilot. Okay, I'm just have few questions. Okay, I'm just which product or service is generating the more revenue? I'm just putting some questions to the. Okay, according to the data, the division consulting is generating the more revenue of 5.47 million. So that's the power of the Copilot. Okay, let me throw some of the interesting question to the Copilot. Okay, what are the peak revenue periods and what are the factors contributed to them? Let's see what it answers. Okay, it shows the Q1 is a very the peak which has 3.42. Unfortunately, the days are twice doesn't have peak. However, the revenue influences like numerous market activity, it can be came down. Let's validate the data. Okay, I'm just selecting the Q1 here. Okay, yes, it's 3.42. I'm just making for a general check. I'm just selecting the Q2. It's 3.3. And for a Q3, it's 3. And for a Q4, it's 3. Okay, which means, yes, it's giving the right answer. Okay, and what are the key revenue related KPIs? How we can handle, right? Just trying to get the actual data and just processing it. Yeah. So this is some of the key revenue KPIs, the indicator, right? So it can be of total revenues and the budget to the revenue ratios, actual versus plan. So these are the key KPIs which we have it here. So this will give the detailed information about this. Okay, and more interesting and with the Power BI and this Fabric is it's all within the teams. So what are the dashboard which I showcase on the web that can be easily embedded into your teams as well. Like if you see the dashboard can be embedded here. Okay, and if you want to share it with the customer or your friends or your team, just have a copy link, or if you want to export the data, yes, as into Excel, it's very much done. If you want to take as PDF, it can be, we have everything in one place. And also we can use a Copilot within the teams as well. So that's the power of Fabric, guys. Okay. So that's all, guys.